Okay, welcome. Now let's the first topic according to JAM, or the first topic in physics is usually measurement. But before measurement, let's first discuss what the subject physics is about. When you talk about physics, physics is a branch of science. Branch of science that deals with the behavior of matter. That deals with the behavior of matter in relation to energy. In relation to energy. So there are many ways you can define physics, but the main keyword in defining physics is that it has to deal with what? Behavior of matter. It has to deal with what? Matter and energy. So when you begin to study matter, and then study the behavior of matter, how it gives out energy, how it absorbs energy, how it relates with other physical properties or other kind of matter, you are talking about physics. For instance, when you talk about physics is a branch of science that studies to explain why some physical phenomena happen around us. Look, for instance, physics studies why when you throw something up and the thing will fall back. Physics try to study why how we get illumination from electricity. So physics, physics, in physics, you're able to study matter and know how matter gives out light energy or gives out sound energy. Understand? So when you're talking about physics, you are just studying the behavior of matter and how it relates to either giving out or absorbing energy. So that's it about physics. So in order for you to be able to study matter, first you should be able to quantify matter. You should be able to quantify matter. You should be able to identify matter. You understand? You should be able to identify it, quantify it, quantify. So in doing this, that's where measurement comes in, because in reality of life, anything you cannot measure, you cannot control that thing. If you are able to measure something, then you can control whatever it is. If you are able to measure amount of oxygen around you, then that means you should be able to control the oxygen around you. If you are able to measure the length of anything, that means you'll be able to control the length. You'll be able to adjust or manipulate the length of a thing. So that's why when you talk about physics, measurement comes in, because for you to be able to study behavior of matter and how you're going to use it or manipulate it, first you have to be able to measure that thing. And what is the meaning of measurement? When you say measurement, measurement is just an act of determining the size or magnitude of a thing. You understand? It's just the act of what? Determining the size, or we can say the magnitude as physics. I mean the magnitude or size of anything. Take for instance, if you have a ruler, a meter rule, for you to, if you measure the length of this meter rule, that's measurement, because you are trying to determine the size of this meter rule. You can measure the length, measure the area, measure the volume, measure the perimeter. So if you are able to measure anything, that's when you can say, okay, it's too long, let me cut it here. You see, you start your manipulation. Okay, let me carve it like this. Let me turn it. Let me join this one to it. Why? Because you are able to do measurements on that. So having said that, that should be a good introduction to physics and measurement as a whole. So the last thing I would like to say before rounding up my introduction is that when you talk about measurements, you have to talk about what? Units. Units. In measuring something, there are units for measuring different things. You understand? Okay, take for instance, when you measure the length of a wall or a length of a chair, what are you measuring it in? Is it just you measure the length and tell someone 5, the length is 5, and 5 what? To what magnitude of 5 are you talking about? Someone else will measure the length again and say 6, 10. You know, to what magnitude? Are you talking about 5 cm or 5 kilometers? Are you talking about just 5? So there has to be what we call unit, standard system of unit. SI unit is a standard recognized way of measuring things. You understand? So for a quantity like length, the standard unit for measuring length is what? Meter. Standard unit for measuring length is meter. There are other units for measuring, but the one we recognize in West Africa here is meter. Understand? So you have to understand unit. So when you are measuring length, is it 5 meter? Is it 5 kilometer? Is it 5 ampere? Are you talking about? So that's why unit plays a very key role in physics. So if you're learning physics, the secret to know physics is units. Understand units and how to combine them. Okay, let's round it up there.